A call to order, calling to order the Advisory Board Capital Budget Oversight meeting of April 2nd. Time is 10:01 a.m. We're gonna open the floor up to Mike Malia from the T to make his presentation. I would ask that everyone hears the presentation, and then we can go to questions and answers after the presentation, if that's acceptable to all. Great. Well, Mike, take it away.
Okay. I will get this going, and I am more of a Teams user than a Zoom user, so give me a moment as I get this shared appropriately.
We believe in you, Mike.
I appreciate your faith. Okay, and then
Hey, Josh.
Good
Morning, Brian.
Can everyone see this? Sharing now?
Yeah.
All right, terrific. Okay. Thank you all very much. I'm happy to be here and happy to present the MBTA's proposed FY26 to 30 CIP. In accordance with Governor Healy, Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, Secretary Tibbetts-Nuts, and the General Manager, the proposed FY26 to 30 CIP delivers meaningful results for the needs of today as we laid the groundwork for tomorrow. Our CIP is driven by three key objectives. Timely maintenance now, building upon recent progress with the TIP program and others to deliver for our riders. Building for the future, ensuring that today's investments set a strong foundation for future infrastructure while seeking additional funding, and improving service for riders by improving frequency, reliability, decarbonization, and rider enhancements as outlined in full T ahead. Our capital program strategy exists beyond just the CIP. We continue to try to develop a strategic approach to advance our vision, focusing on some strategic processes, improving asset information, improving asset data, and developing asset class plans to better inform our investment priorities and address state of good repair needs. Right-sizing our workforce and streamlining right-of-way access to increase our maintenance workforce capacity and enhance right-of-way access. We can reduce costs and disruptions while improving service for our riders. Pursuing funding opportunities. We're aggressively pursuing grant opportunities to increase available funding for key capital projects and programs, allowing us to deliver more improvements sooner. We are also seeking out opportunities to enhance capital projects with development opportunities in the region, including in areas like Alewife, Everett, and Lynn. We are also advancing our organizational delivery, largely through improving our internal coordination with operations teams to ensure a more comprehensive and agency-wide approach to capital investments. We are enhancing maintenance, performing regular one-time and programmatic maintenance to deliver on the progress made during the track improvement program. This part is particularly important in terms of shifting away from being a more reactive organization, as the TIP was, to something that is much more forward-looking to try and get ahead of these things as they come along. And we're building for the future, taking a balanced approach to address immediate needs while incorporating long-range plans to continue building for our future. And I'm happy to report that we are making progress. We are delivering meaningful results. Asset planning is now informing projects. Our asset class planning efforts have supported the development of capital project scopes to address our most critical needs, especially within power assets. We are tapping recently developed master plans to have a more coherent vision of how we are delivering improvements while being conscious of our funding constraints. We are also delivering meaningful results with our workforce and with right-of-way access. We refined our internal process to access the right-of-way, ensuring more effective coordination for our workforce and better results for the riders, so we have more impactful diversions that do not take as long but get much more work done. And within discretionary grant awards, our aggressive and strategic pursuit of discretionary grants has yielded over $830 million since the passage of the bipartisan infrastructure law. We are also making progress in the realm of on-time and on-budget delivery. Organizational delivery efficiency has improved with our collaborations with operations, helping to ensure more efficient project delivery, minimizing rider impact. programmed capital maintenance. This is a key aspect here, as I mentioned before, the track improvement program, which was completed this past calendar year. It was a good example of this, but we are looking to continue this with more programmed and intentional maintenance activities and inspection work for track, station, and structures. This stuff is planned in 2025 to ensure that we never return to the state that we were in 2022 and 2023. And the review of in-flight capital projects. We've instituted an annual review of existing projects within the CIP, assessing continued progress towards our long-term goals and needs, and ensuring that the project delivery methods and the goals for those projects are still in alignment with what we're seeing as our needs in the future. And to bring a spotlight on some recent accomplishments, our recent meaningful progress includes, again, the track improvement program. During the TIP over the last year, we removed over 220 speed restrictions, replaced 250,000 feet of rail, and improved track reliability across the system, allowing the red line to reach speeds that it had not reached before, where feasible. And so that's in the realm of large impact, which I think everybody within the T's service area has understood and has seen. But even on a smaller scale, something smaller here, real-time information for riders. The release of the MBTA Go app allows our riders to access real-time information for all fixed route services in a much more accessible way, another way that can actually have a real impact for riders. And we're also launching the bus network redesign phase 1. With this launch, it enhances multiple key bus routes and led to a 60% increase in service frequency, with additional improvements to come. So now as we look into the meat of our CIP, the FY26 to 30 capital investment plan includes over 660 projects for a program spend of $9.8 billion over the next 5 fiscal years, including approximately $1 billion in new funding. You can see on the screen here, we have this broken down as a summary both by program spend by mode and by CIP program. Our largest investments within this 5-year plan are within the rapid transit network at $3.8 billion, followed by commuter rail, $2.5 billion, system-wide, which really does cover multiple modes. That's just over $2 billion, and bus services for just under $1.1 billion. And looking here in terms of programs by CIP program, we are very much tilted towards vehicles right now, followed by guideway signals, power, passenger facilities, structures, and administrative facilities. Right now, I'm going to go through just some highlights by mode for what we're seeing within our CIP right now. And just for some framing, the next series of slides will highlight these investments. And along the top ribbon, you'll see some helpful information, including miles of service, revenue vehicle counts, and average weekday ridership. Also along the bottom of the screen, you'll see the new funding added through a CIP cycle, just to break that out there for you. And as we're looking specifically at rapid transit, we're seeing programmatic investment here within Green Line infrastructure, vehicles, and accessibility, with over $1.7 billion in Green Line infrastructure and accessibility upgrades to introduce the new Type 10 trains by 2027, including $94 million in new funding. We are also substantially investing within rapid transit power system upgrades, a total of $404 million for upgrades to power systems within our rapid transit lines to increase efficiency, reduce maintenance, and improve reliability, including $126 million in new funding. And as a project highlight here, we've combined the Red and Orange Line vehicles projects and the Red and Orange Line signals project. Together, these will be transformational with over $777 million within the CIP to deliver new vehicles and modernize signal equipment on the Red and Orange lines, improving safety, reliability, and efficiency. Within our bus network, which has over 334,000 average weekday ridership, we are seeing continued investment in bus modernization and electrification, with nearly $500 million to construct new and retrofitted bus facilities and to prepare for a larger, more efficient fleet of battery electric buses with more frequent service. We also are investing with bus network redesign and transit priority with $180 million to continue the implementation of our bus network redesign and to improve transit priority infrastructure, including transit signal priority technology. This includes $33 million in new funding. And we are also investing substantially for hybrid bus overhauls, with nearly over $47 million for critical midlife overhauls of 45 60-foot hybrid buses, improving the state of our fleet and ensuring safe and reliable service. Within commuter rail, we're seeing targeted investments for commuter rail vehicles with $710 million for investments in our rail fleet. This includes replacing our oldest locomotives and continuing to add more bi-level coaches. And in this category, we're seeing over $189 million in new funding for these needs. We are also continuing investment for regional rail modernization with $223 million for further investments in rail modernization, such as the Fairmount Line upgrades to support 20-minute decarbonized service by 2028. And the project that we're probably most excited about here would be North Station Draw 1, the replacement of that bridge, with $679 million in the FY 26 to 30 CIP out of a $1.2 billion total project cost to replace and expand the North Station Draw 1 bridge to increase network capacity. This includes $472 million in mega grant funding, which is the largest discretionary grant the MBTA has ever received. And looking at our other modes here, within the ferry network, we are continuing system-wide ferry improvements with $50 million for ferry terminal accessibility upgrades and fleet overhauls to support a consistent network of water transportation services. And for the paratransit network, we are continuing investment for the ride vehicles as we to invest within the ride vehicle fleet as we strive for a seamless transitions between paratransit and fixed route services. Funding in this area definitely also includes just overall replacement of the fleet. And looking at the system-wide kind of multimodal realm here, we have substantial investment for structural inspection and repair, with nearly $500 million for investments in structural inspection and repair to support a more proactive approach to maintenance. That includes $35 million in new funding. Track and facility state of good repair programs with $265 million for state of good repair programs for track and for facilities assets, such as stairs, escalators, elevators, emergency fire systems, roofs, and station inspections. This is an area where we're continuing to build upon the progress of the track improvement program in calendar year 2024, and the ongoing work we have for the comprehensive upgrade for the Red Line Orange Light Signals program. And as a project highlight here that's a little bit more rider-facing, we have our countdown clock and public address system upgrades with $33 million to upgrade these rider-facing audio and visual communication equipments in our stations, including countdown clocks and PA systems. And this includes $23 million in new funding overall. Just looking at some additional highlights within the FY 26 to 30 CIP with other major investments. And for what I'll be talking about here, this is all new funding for CIP programs, not just a look at the overall funding that we have dedicated within our $9.8 billion CIP. Within vehicles, we have substantial funding to overhaul our auxiliary power systems on the Blue Line vehicles and to upgrade maintenance of way vehicle fleet. Within passenger facilities, we have $50 million for accessible mini-high platforms at commuter rail stations. That's $15 million in new funding, along with a new bus shelter installation improvement program to address accessibility and holistic concerns for bus shelters and bus stops throughout the network, and not just within the core of Boston. Within business and operational support, we have $2 million to implement our safety management system, or SMS, and continued funding for rail modernization planning. Within structures, we are continuing to invest within system-wide tunnel inspection programs and to improve bridge safety walkways system-wide. This is a key safety aspect for our staff. And some of this work will be building off of things that are actually happening right now during the the current Ashmont surge. Within guideway signals and power, we are substantially investing for improved maintenance access on the Orange Line to allow for more efficient delivery of maintenance and improvement activities going forward, and $10 million for early actions to electrify the Newburyport and Rockport line. Within maintenance and administrative facilities, there's investment for a new operations control center and continued improvements for commuter rail facilities. And within the area of technology innovation, we will be investing in a heavy rail dispatch software system, in software improvements for our heavy rail dispatch system, and substantial investment to continue the system-wide radio system upgrades. All this being said, the investment we have targeted here is to help address our challenges. We are making progress within the state of good repair needs. The 2023 Capital Needs Assessment, or CNAI, identified $24.5 billion in baseline capital needs to bring our system into a state of good repair. Over the past year, we've seen substantial investment in track and signals to help chip away at that, but we still have more work to do here. With over $9.5 billion programmed within the CIP for reliability and modernization efforts, the MBTA is focused on timely maintenance, building for the future, and improving service for our riders. This includes power systems. In particular, this is a new area of focus for us, or a renewed area of focus, I should say. It includes $80 million from that the state unlocked for us through the Commonwealth Transportation Fund this past October, in which we are greatly appreciative for. But all that's being said, significant work still remains. We are improving project delivery. In May 2024, the MBTA workforce shortfall was identified at over 1,000 staff members needed for safe and reliable service. And with the support of the Healy School Administration, we have been able to staff up, we have been able to insource, and we've been able to build out our capacity internally to ensure that we are providing more reliable and frequent maintenance, but also something where we're not just paying out to consultants. We're not just doing this for construction firms, but building this internally has been really key and important for us to turn to a more proactive and forward-thinking organization, and to ensure that we never get back to the stages that we were just a few years ago, especially in the rapid transit network. We're also facing uncertain federal funding, but again, strong state support. Federal funding remains uncertain as the bipartisan infrastructure law expires at the end of fiscal year 2026. However, the Commonwealth's continuing commitment for funding to the Commonwealth Transportation Fund has unlocked borrowing capacity to support $1.25 billion worth of projects at the MBTA and Mass DOT over the next 5 years. And within the current budget proposal, there's prospects for even more investment. We are very, very excited about that. This just leads into the fact that while we have $9.8 billion in their plan, again, over 660 projects, many of our capital needs remain unfunded. Given funding constraints, the MBTA was only able to allocate $1.031 billion of funding to new projects during this cycle. To put this in context, we initially received 254 project requests, representing $13.5 billion in funding requests this cycle. And vast majority of these projects are all ones that are high quality projects that we need. Even after going through a departmental vetting process to more focus these, as we get down to it, we're only providing new funding for 108 projects for that just over $1 billion, representing 8% of total funding requested and about 13% of the FY26 to 30 funding need. The delta there is just because the difference of projects that are being proposed within this 5-year window, and some of them very much have impacts that extend beyond FY30, given the scale of some of our investments. We are continuing to focus on delivering meaningful results. While many critical projects could not be fully funded in this cycle, we are advancing work with the resources we have today to ensure that we are ready for the future. To highlight some projects that we know there are significant unfunded needs, but we still are showing a dedication to move the ball. We have the Arborway Bus Maintenance Facility with $8.5 billion to help in the plan to bring this project to 30% design, so we can proceed with full design and construction once funding is identified. But this is a project that has an estimated total project cost of over $440 million. And unfortunately, this is not a project that we could fit in during this cycle. Similarly, for the Whitehead Layover and Maintenance Facility, to fully address the needs here, which are important here, we need over $300 million. This CIP funds initial work on the property, including demolition and design work, so we'd be well positioned to continue investment there and to make the best use of that property. Silver Line Extension, the CIP supports early design and environmental permitting work, and rail modernization, focusing on the Newburyport and Rockport line electrification, while to address overall electrification requires substantial investment that's beyond the scale of the CIP right now. We are dedicating funds that will construct, we are including funding here to construct a traction power substation that will be critical for electrifying this corridor, and to ensure that we are still making progress here, projects with their own independent utility, but that will definitely help us continue progress down the road, especially as more funding becomes available. And now to just where we are with public engagement. So our public engagement process started last Thursday when we released the CIP to the public and presented it to the board of directors. We are seeking out comments in many ways right now. People can attend virtual or in-person public meetings. We have a first of our public meetings starting tomorrow. There'll be a virtual public meeting at 6:30, and then another one next Thursday. They'll be hosted by ABCD, which we are very appreciative of. We are also encouraging people to fill out our online comment tool, sending emails, and even mailing letters to the GM. Those will get to us. They will all be collected. We will be analyzing and digesting them to see both to provide responses and to see if there should, if this warrants any adjustments to our CIP going forward. Next steps here. So as you can see right here in April, this is our presentation to the advisory board and the subcommittee. We will be presenting tomorrow to the Boston MPO for our FY26 to 30 CIP, continuing our public engagement meetings. Public comment ends on the 17th, and at that point, then we'll be going through to make sure that we properly analyze and report out on those and fully digest the impact of the comments that we receive. Our plan right now is to go back to the MBTA's Finance and Audit Subcommittee on May 15th to present the final CIP and to get a board vote on the May 20th full board meeting. We are aware that this is slightly behind the statutory deadline to provide a final approved CIP to the advisory board, but this was the best that we could do in coordinating the board, and we are still very much committed to ensuring that we share all the information we can to allow you guys to do the analysis and provide the input that you need. That being said, that's the end of my presentation here. I'm very happy to take any questions. If people would like me to go back to previous slides, I'll let me know.
Thank you very much, Michael. I would ask if anyone has any questions, if they want to just use the raise hand function, if there's, so we can kind of do it orderly. That'd be helpful. Brian.
Well, thank you, sir. Much obliged. And Mike, thank you. Josh, thank you. Everyone at the T. I appreciate you pulling this together. This is not easy. And I imagine that most of your job is saying no to people internally. There's a huge need that is not met, and I appreciate that. I guess I have two questions. One is what, and you can answer this offline, what rolled off from last year's CIP to free up space on the current one? And the second one, I guess, is a little broader and more around that kind of the vision thing, right? So the CIP is meant to be based on something called the Program for Mass Transportation, which hasn't been done since 2019. And I guess the question is, without that to guide us, what is the vision or what is the visioning documents or the visioning guidance that the authority used to develop this CIP?
Those are very good questions. Addressing the first one in terms of what's rolled off from last year's CIP, some of the major things that we've seen come off of the CIP because of investment during this 5-year, during FY25 would be the track improvement program, which itself was funded at over $500 million. We are still wrapping up expenses there, but that was a tremendous level of investment that is all happening essentially largely within one fiscal year. It's a substantial impact there. We are also seeing a slowdown in spending for Green Line extension and South Coast Rail. While South Coast Rail still will be going through final closeout, the fact that we've achieved revenue service right now, those are some major areas where we're seeing spending come out of our plan, along with some vehicle procurements. We're seeing some stuff accelerate there. The signals program is another one where we're seeing some more investment that's coming through here. But I'd really say right now, some of the major things that have the biggest impact on how we navigated this past year, the tip would probably be the biggest one. But I'll make sure we get back to you with some more detailed analysis on that. In terms of what is guiding us right now, given the PMT is they're getting ready to have their consultant on board. We're starting to kick off a new process there. It was not something that could be fully mature for this, clearly. We have been taking direction from the general manager in terms of the full TIA head kind of transit vision for what kind of service we want to provide going forward, and trying to be cognizant of the constraints that we have there. So we're trying to take a vision as to where do we want our service to be within 10 years and how can we move that needle right now. That's a vision that was developed over the last 6 months, and it's something that will be used to help influence this plan and future plans. It's very difficult to change a plan that is well underway right now. You're turning a massive ship here, and it takes some time and effort there. But that's where we're seeing a lot of our vision and a lot of our inspiration coming from. But just trying to focus on those areas and trying to shift away from being much more coordinated with our operations customers. I think that's an area of improvement that we've really been focusing on as an organization overall to ensure that we have full alignment there.
And sir, if I might follow up,
Please.
thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. And I guess I would just, it's been said the T is best in a crisis, and moving towards a proactive approach is something that's needed to happen for a long time. So I applaud you on that. I guess just following up on that, one of the questions that I get asked a lot and Beacon Hill and from our members is where do they go with their bigger questions about specific strategic or regionally significant projects, like double tracking the old Colony Tunnel between Braintree and JFK, like the Wonderland Station, like triple tracking in Worcester. So should I direct those folks when they ask me how to sort of voice support for things like that, and also let you folks know what is important to our members and to the region?
When it comes to major new scale investments, especially for expansions of service or expanded overall service ranges, I would definitely recommend that they go to the upcoming PMT process. We're launching this off. Those are the areas where really that needs to be baked into a more holistic and fully visioned plan for future transportation. And it's not something that can happen just overnight. So I definitely recommend that people start there, especially for projects that don't already exist or aren't already underway within our CIP. I mean, that's the best way for us to understand how they fit into the transit vision overall, how they fit into how we're tackling our challenges, not just with the MBTA, but MassDOT and others overall. And especially for truly newer or larger scale investments, that's where some of the larger discussion can be. How does this weigh against the other major priorities that we have for the Commonwealth writ large?
Mike, I have Tom in my office. He had a question relative, obviously more of a personal question for the city of Revere, but.
Yeah, no, it's personal, but I'll try not to be too provincial and try to think about how this impacts the broader system too. We're having this presentation kind of in the wake of the South Coast Rail expansion, which is a huge success for the MBTA and also one that took decades to happen. And so now as we're looking at future expansion opportunities, whether it's, yes, our Wonderland Station here in Revere or other aspects of implementing the rail vision, we saw electrifying the Newburyport-Rockport line on the CIP. That's a great first step. I guess my question is more operationally, what is the T doing to ensure that expansion projects have the sense of urgency that they need to get things done in a more expeditious fashion, because we can't wait decades for some of these improvements. And just for example, with Wonderland Station, the funding's been there since September, but the work still hasn't begun on a design. So what are we doing not just to get money on the CIP, but get it spent efficiently so we can get these projects happening sooner?
So I'll say, I'll start with just some of the larger scale things here, especially with electrification, because we know commuter rail electrification of the regional rail network will be a transformative vision, but it is something that takes an awful lot to get done. The scale of investment that is required there is truly stunning. It's something that we need to do, but it is something that we really need to be talking much more about. How can we find new revenue streams to actually support this sort of work? We are very much, one of the things that we've been very much focusing on right now is just stabilizing our current assets and our current network. And I think that we've seen over the past few years the criticality of such a goal there. The focus on expansion projects one could definitely say it helped us take our eye off the ball over the last decade in terms of where investment was going to be needed to continue to provide the service that we're even providing today, let alone the vision that we have of the future. So when it comes to a transformative expansion like the electrification of the network, that is something we continue to have conversations with advocates, with the governor's office, with ANF, just to try and find what can be possible in terms of funding going forward. But it is an ongoing conversation that will take time. The scale of investment that's required here is truly substantial, especially given the declining resources we are seeing coming into our CIP in the out years. This is a $9.8 billion CIP, but we added just over $1 billion when we incorporated the final the FY30 into this plan. We're still very much rolling over funds, and some of the funding capacity that we had, whether it was from the feds or from the state, over the past few years. We're seeing substantial investments. We're catching up on that this year, but when you have declining resources in the out years, it makes it tremendously challenging to continue some very, very expensive investments, regardless of how important they are. It just makes the feasibility there is tremendously challenging. We continue to work with ANF and others to try and find new revenue streams to work through here. And we are hopeful that federal funding continues to exist to meet some of these needs. As it speaks to for Wonderland design expansion, for the Wonderland design, one of the things that we are very much focused on right now is we are trying to reorient from just a CIP that funds projects bit by bit and kind of installments to one that really focuses on the full delivery of a project. It allows us to have a much better control when you have a target that the project team is measuring to and managing to in terms of an overall budget. It also allows us to really focus on a delivery method that can actually produce results, rather than in the past it's kind of been, we'll continue to design until we get to a point, but then kind of hope with a wish and a prayer that this actually makes the cut for funding within another CIP cycle. It leads to a lot of waste and stale cost estimates, cost overruns, and very slow delivery of projects at times. So our focus right now in trying to ensure that we are fully funding projects, or at least we are funding scopes themselves that can be fully delivered, even if it is not delivering the larger scale of the overall intended investment. I think an example of that would be the transit power substation that work that we were doing on a previous slide. I'll pull back right there for the Newburyport Rockport line, knowing that still we need a tremendous amount of investment to advance beyond that, but we're at least making a tangible and meaningful investment right now that will have results that we can manage to in terms of to help promote better project delivery methods. That's an area that we are specifically focusing on. I'll have to get back to you for more specific details as it relates to the Wonderland project on its own. I don't have those at the tip of my fingers, unfortunately, but I'll make sure I get to you on that.
Okay, thank you, Michael. I'm not sure I see any other questions. If there are no other questions, I was going to turn it over to Brian. He had some finishing comments.
I just have one quick question.
Okay, Yem, is that?
Yeah, this is Jim. I'm with the city of Malden. Mike, thank you for the presentation. Could you highlight some of the maintenance project or the CIP for the Orange Line for the next for this year and for the next 5 years?
Sure. I would say one of the biggest ones that we're doing right now is something we're intending to wrap up over the next fiscal year, is the Red Line Orange Line Signals project to completely overhaul our signal system and modernize it from what is a tremendously antiquated system right now. That should improve many efficiencies along the Orange Line itself. Beyond that, Josh Klingenstein, I'm going to pass this over to you. I think you might have some more information that can be shared on for Orange Line investments.
Yeah, certainly. And hi, everyone. My name is Josh Klingenstein. I'm the acting director for CIP development and implementation with the MBTA. I'll highlight a few other projects here, which I'm sure is not comprehensive. But we are advancing work. Well, certainly we're continuing to receive deliveries of both red and orange line vehicles. I know we've had more of the orange line delivered at this point, but vehicles are still coming in from CRC. Additionally, the CIP includes funding for some early action work on the Southwest Corridor that should improve our ability to perform track maintenance there by constructing some truck pads for our high rail vehicles in that area, in anticipation of sort of like a broader overhaul of that corridor in the future. And then on the station side, there's significant work occurring at Ruggles Station, significant accessibility and state of good repair improvements there. I did also want to note, I don't have the exact numbers or scopes in front of me, but there is work occurring on the Orange Line as part of the annual program maintenance effort, which is sort of the follow-up track maintenance effort to help build upon the progress that we made during the track improvement program. I'm happy to follow up with the team there and get some of the specific scopes of work that are happening on the Orange Line as part of that program. But I know that there is at least a few upcoming diversions on the Orange Line related to that.
Yeah, that's part of an overall $125 million effort just for calendar year 2025 that we are running through right now. Another area that is not necessarily Orange Line specific, but is key for the entire rapid rail network is our investment within our power systems to try and bring more reliability into our overall power systems. We've seen real deficit of investment there over the past years. I think within the Guideway Signals Power, maybe Signals took a lot of the attention there because of what we were doing for the Red Line Orange Line Signals project. But power is now a renewed focus for us, and that will just provide overall support for the network as a whole, but will definitely impact reliability and service upon the Orange Line. But we can get back to you with a more detailed list if you would like.
Thank you. Yeah. What do you expect for outage for the 2 stations in Malden for your project this year? The length of it?
I do not have that information at hand.
So yeah, we can get that from the operating folks for you. We have I think it's a different T department, but we'll figure it out for you.
Sorry about that. Thanks.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brian, anything further?
Yeah, so thank you, sir. So again, Mike, thank you very much. Just for the committee, what we're going to be doing over the next kind of month internally with the staff is we'll be drafting a oversight report on this proposed CIP for your consideration. So this is your report, not ours. And we have a couple of additional things scheduled. There's nothing next week because of school vacation. But there is something scheduled, I think, on April 15th and April 30th, as well as May 7th, if we need them. And we don't have to do all of those, but if there is a desire. And what our plan as staff is to come back to you with drafts of an oversight report. And obviously those will get more refined as we go along. And what I'm asking each of you for in the next 2 weeks is direction. So if there are certain projects or programs that you feel are lacking or need to be called out for additional sort of information from the authority, or attention from the authority, just let us know that, please. You can shoot me an email or call me. And in the meantime, we're going to try to do our full review of this and do the usual breakdown that we do. This will culminate in May on the 20th. Mayor Keefe or me or someone will be at the T's Board of Directors, sort of presenting to them this committee and the full advisory board's approach and thoughts to the CIP itself. So at some point, the full advisory board will meet. I think we have that scheduled already in May.
16th.
Yeah, May 16th. Thank you, Frank. And so this committee will have to finish its work by the 16th. The advisory board will vote usually to accept that report. If it makes any changes, it'll make its changes. And then on the 20th of May, Mayor Keefe or myself or someone will present this to the full MBTA Board of Directors for their consideration before they take a vote on the CIP. And in the past, that's been a great opportunity for advisory board to sort of make its intentions understood, and it tends to help in the development of the next CIP, as we've seen this year. The only thing I'll say on that is that the more sort of input you can give us as staff, the better we can reflect what's important to you. So please feel free to share. With that said, we will have drafts for you a couple of days before each of the next meetings. And like I said, if we get to a place where you folks are okay with what we have drafted, we don't have to meet for the sake of meeting. We can do this. Also, we're just trying to be incredibly aware of the open meeting law and make sure that we're doing everything above board. We don't want to do anything that would ever get anybody on the wrong side of things. And so that's why we have these things scheduled. We can do some of it by email, but not all of it by email. We are a public body and we will have to meet publicly to go over stuff, including wordsmithing. But if you give us sort of direction at a broad level, we can translate that into the documents. So think about projects, think about programs, think about things that are important, not just to your community, but to the region, and share them with myself, with Hannah, with Isabella, and we'll certainly make sure that it gets included. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have to say, sir. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And Mike, thank you for your presentation again. Thanks for everyone for joining. At this point, we'll adjourn the meeting and see you next time.
Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.